So planetary health is the understanding that there is an intersection between health and our planet, aspects of our planet, including the environment and climate change, and also the human activities that impact on our environment, so environmental degradation and also contributing to climate change. So we know that we have evidence now that these linkages are such that as we see, for example, climate change impacts, we are seeing that on human health. For example, there's an increase with the increase in heat, we have human health being affected by heat, so heat stress. But also, I think there are many more linkages, including, for example, with nutrition. So if you're having drought because of these changes in climate, or you're having floods that affect agriculture, but also just basically affecting crop productivity and the nutrients. So there are lots of linkages. There are linkages, for example, with aspects such as malaria, and we now see places that previously didn't experience malaria, were not malaria endemic areas, being affected by malaria. So there are quite a few linkages. Of course, there's the air pollution and its effects on respiratory diseases. And what we know is that planetary health is becoming more important, and especially for low and middle income countries, because they seem to be really suffering the brunt of the climate change, despite the contributions of the populations in these global South countries not being, being quite insignificant, if I might say so, compared to the industrialized world. There's also the aspect, of course, there's, and you might hear some people talk about One Health, which is another related concept, but sprung out of the interest between, interest in the linkages between human and animal health, and particularly the zoonotic diseases. So that is another area where we are definitely interested in seeing what's happening. There is a lot of evolution happening. There are a lot of health emergencies springing out of zoonotic diseases. So yeah, in a nutshell, there's really quite this strong linkage now between what's happening on our planet and human health. So the population, health, environment, and development, because and the reason why I say population, health, environment, and development, the development aspect carries, there are a lot of other aspects, but it's really the understanding that there are linkages. Things are really interlinked. And often we operate and work in silos, whether it's in policy, whether it's in projects, whether it's our programs. But in reality, population dynamics, for example, are really affecting other sectors, including, say, something like education, for example. We know that as population rises, for example, it has implications for demand on services. So, for example, education services, health services, it has implications on what we need to do about food productivity, for example. But there are so many linkages, and we are seeing population and environment, for example. We know that human activity is the main underlying cause for environmental degradation. we are seeing biodiversity loss. And some of these are also then linked to our livelihood. So, for example, as we are losing our biodiversity in our water bodies, the fishermen are no longer able to sort of get the same amount of fish stock that they were able to get before. And that has a further linkage, for example, to the nutrition, because the communities that were surviving, that were getting their nutrients from these marine marine ecosystems are no longer able to get it sufficiently. So population health, environment, and development is really saying that let us adopt systems thinking and understand that what is happening in one sector has an impact on the other, and it's not, in many cases it's multi-directional. It's not even just, it's not one direction. So I think that that's really an important aspect, and especially as we also see, again, climate change becoming a priority, going to have critical impacts across sectors over the next several decades. So AFIDEP has several projects that are working at the intersection of population, health, environment, and development, but I'll talk about two in particular. One is on a project on planetary health, which we are working together with the government of Kenya through the Ministry of Health to position, we want to position health within climate change action. This has not been done very effectively previously. If you look at the current National Climate Change Adaptation Plan, yes, there's they understand the importance of health, but we feel that those linkages have not been detailed as well as it could have been, because there are several other linkages that are missing. And so we are looking at being able to do some advocacy work to position health within climate change action more centrally, but also developing a climate change and health strategy with them. And also part of this project, which we are also partnering with the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, we are also generating evidence. So there's modeling scenarios for climate change and health risks. So this particular project is supported through the Children's Investment Fund Foundation. The other project, which is a multi-year project, 5-year project supported by US aid, is known as the BUILD project. And in the BUILD project, it's building capacity. We want to build the capacity of stakeholders to understand the interlinkages between population, health, environment, and development. But critically, we want family planning and reproductive health as aspects of population dynamics to be integrated into all these sectoral policies and plans, projects and plans, because it's an important aspect that is often missing. And so ultimately, one of the result areas there is to get more political commitment for reproductive health and family planning. And then secondly, to also get more resources for reproductive health and family planning. And lastly, to also advocate more strongly for a greater understanding of the cross-sectoral integrated population, health, environment, and development. So bringing in all these sectors, bringing in a systems thinking approach to actually understand the issues and be able to develop the policies, but as well to do more effective cross-sectoral programming on sustainable development issues. I'm excited working with, different stakeholders who may not have at times, they don't have a very deep understanding of some of the cross-sectoral interlinkages that affect health, population and health. So population health is something that's quite dear to me. And it's just exciting when you're able to share evidence, share knowledge from different places, and then see how the different stakeholders then sort of they have a light bulb moment, and really embrace the need for cross-sectoral action, including the public sector working with the private sector, and also bringing in the civil society actors. And I think it is this really concerted effort from the various actors across the various fields that will get us, one, the necessary policy action, but more importantly, get us to have some of these ideas embedded for sustainability in our efforts towards universal health, whether it's universal health coverage, but really making sure that we have better health for all. And that's why I work towards health for all.